Since we've been in Atlanta, we've been many places. Since the last time we saw you, we've been on the road a lot. This year, something really great happened for us this year. We got to open for some guys that are heroes of ours. The legendary Joe Ely took us on the road. And him and his whole band, the Flatlanders, which is Butch Hancock and Jimmy Dale Gilmore. And if you don't know Jimmy Dale Gilmore by his music, you might better know him as Smokey from The Big Lebowski. Which I did not figure out because I'd always known his music. And I think I know The Big Lebowski more than I know any album that has ever been recorded by any artist ever. So I know these two things very well. And it wasn't until the very end of the tour that I really put two and two together, and it blew my mind. But yeah, he's like, when Walter's like over the line, he's like, mark it 8, dude. He said that he got really uncomfortable when the movie first came out. People would ask him to sign pieces of merchandise saying, mark it 8. And he wouldn't do it at first because he didn't want to be associated with the movie or whatever. Like, wanted to be known as a musician first. And then later on, he didn't bother him as much anymore. But what really bothered him is he didn't want to sign it for people now when he didn't sign it for people in the past. These are his moral dilemmas that he told me about. And so he says now, when someone asks him to write mark it 8, he just literally writes 8. He just marks it 8. He literally marks it 8. We played some strange gigs with him though. Not the least of which was, I'll be blunt, it was at a casino in Albuquerque. This is actually a crucial detail. It was at a casino 30 miles outside of Albuquerque. That is critical for your, so if you can kind of imagine just like the most rundown, just kind of like all of the kitchen managers are on hard drugs. Ruby Tuesdays that you've ever seen in your entire life. So that's the section that we were playing in, and like I said, the audience is out there, and it's kind of like this a little bit, except right here in a horseshoe was the bar. There was like 4 or 5 bartenders. It was big, really big. 4 or 5 bartenders working the crowd, and the stage was on a platform behind the bar, raised up. So do you have that picture in your mind right now, the stage raised up behind a horseshoe bar? Is that in your mind? Is it? Twice that high. As high as you think that it was. You're starting to get a feel for how dark this whole experience was. And but we're just beginning here, because what you have to understand is the stage did not start out that high. When you started playing your set, it began rising on hydraulic lifts. So you started in a pit below the bar, and you gradually, you had to be on it and go up. And so, do you have that picture now in your mind of me rising up? Is that in there now? Do you have that? Twice that slow. And so there was like sort of like this apron of the bar. So the bartenders are up here, you start in the pit, and they told me to start. They were like, just play. I forgot about this detail. They said, just start playing, and when you start playing, the sirens will start going off. So like, you had these sirens going off to announce that the show is starting, but you had to start your song right then. So I think I don't know what song I opened with. All my songs are about 4 minutes long, and so we start in the pit, and just as I'm finishing the first song, my head is just beginning to crown the top. So we're very happy to be at Eddie's Attic. This is, I'd like to play you a song here. I got some time off the road in December and January to write some new songs. I'd like to play one of them for you right now. If they're going to make a shadow out of me, well, I guess I'll be the shadow of that poster oak tree in the forest by your house where we used to meet. If they're going to make a shadow out of me, they're going to make a shadow out of you, well, I hope to catch the briefest glimpse as you go passing through, as the shadow of the Lincoln we drove to school. If they're going to make a shadow out of you, lines will disappear as we grow darker, darker than we planned for at the start. The light of morning will get even farther, until at last you can't tell us apart. So if they're going to make a shadow out of us, casting downward to the valley from an Appalachian bluff, I was born, then I loved you, I guess that was enough. If they're going to make a shadow out of us, if they're going to make a shadow out of us, yeah!